stars for 30 years. Jill Summers is better known as Coronation Street's Phyllis Pearce.
We came here and found this little house and we settled down here and we've loved it. We love Yorkshire. Well, my husband, who's now gone, but he loved Yorkshire. We've been very happy here. And there's some lovely spots all around Wakefield, and it's wonderful, the countryside just outside Wakefield. But I love Wakefield for a shopping centre. I think it's marvellous. When I go into them, you don't get wet, and it's lovely to shop in. You can go and have a cup of tea when you want, and that is quite a big change to what it was. I was brought here by Richard Whiteley, one of the architects that was doing this place. When it was just being built, it was in the raw state. And I thought, my God, what will they do with this place? And then when he brought me back to see it finished, it was absolutely fabulous. And to think you can come in here and have a nice cup of tea out of the rain, and it's wonderful, isn't it? I love it. You can't believe that this is in Wakefield. It's completely changed the whole place. Mind you, when you see the precinct and the cathedral now and see little acts doing different things, it's like Covent Garden, a lot of it, you know. Now, they've brought it up so well. I think it's marvellous. Well, I think it'll be all right working in here. I hope the tips are good. Because you used to get the odd tip, you know, and Jim's cap. Oh, he'd love it, Percy. Yes, he would. Sometimes I don't go shopping a lot because I never get shopping. I get talking and signing autographs. So at the finish, I have a friend that does my shopping for me now. They all think they know you. And they come up to you and they're friendly. And I don't mind that at all. I love it. And here's the lovely opera house where I appeared so many times. Didn't think when I was appearing here that I would one day live in Wakefield. Isn't it lovely? Lots of work for people. Love to see these places opening. And I hope it lasts a long, long time. I used to appear there in the old days. And girls would be dancing and all the dust would be falling on them. It was a fantastic place at the finish. But now they've done it up and it's really great. I've enjoyed today so much. The lovely Wakefield.
Well, that was the wonderful Jill Summers.
About people who've already made their mark, we now turn to someone who's just on the threshold of the really big time. Her name is Annette Law, and she was a student at Bradford University and already earning a name for herself for her impersonation. When our Jane Beckwood chatted to her on calendar last year and sprung a little surprise.
Right.
Now, Annette, when you last came into the studio, you brought the house down, and one of our favourite impressions was Phyllis from Coronation Street. So will you do that one first?
Well, she's my favourite too. And then I just go out to clubs and a minute open out and do this. Everyone falls about laughing.
That's fantastic. Now listen, we've got a bit of a surprise for you here. Because in the studio, we have the real Phyllis.
Hello, Annette. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
No, but how are you?
I'm all right, thanks. What can I say?
Oh, there you are. How's it going with Percy? What's going on there? I'm getting coming. What are you playing at? I don't know, darling. Never mind washing them cups in calf, that's about it. Go down the pub and have a quick drink.
Well, a few months after that, Annette graduated from Bradford University, and then she went out to Australia, determined to prove herself. And there she scooped first prize on a TV talent show called Red Faces. Now, the critics raved about her impersonations, and that has led to regular TV appearances and club dates in Australia. Well, Annette is actually still in Sydney, so she couldn't make it back for our show tonight. But we did manage to catch up with her in Sydney Harbour.
Hello, Richard. It's great to be joining you from Sydney for your 21st birthday. But as Phyllis Pearce would say,
Richard Whiteley, you're never 21.
As you can see, the weather here in Sydney today is very sunny, which is surprising because Sydney's experiencing its worst winter for many years. However, for me, things couldn't look brighter. I'd been in Australia me for 4 months when I entered a national talent show called Red Faces. And Red Faces is a bit like our New Faces back home. There's a judge on the panel who is called Red Simons, and he is the Aussie equivalent of Nina Mishkov. Also on the panel, the day I won, were Wendy James from Transvision Vamp and Jason Donovan. Well, I went on the show, gave the Aussies a taste of my impressions, Maggie Thatcher and the royal family and all that, and couldn't believe it when I walked away with the first prize of a brand new car. Yes, Annette won a brand new car, but she had to sell it to keep the bank manager happy. Even though Red Faces was on 8 months ago, I'm quite surprised to find that every time I go out in the street, I keep getting recognised. You can guarantee I'll board a bus, train or a plane, and some Aussie will come up to me and say, "Aye, weren't you the girl that was on Red Faces that did them voices? Aye, mate, I like that royal family." You can guarantee there's a lot of British television programmes on over here because the Aussies love British comedy. Shows like Fawlty Towers, Some Others Do Haven't, Steptoe and Son, and The Good Life. In fact, over here, Penelope Keith is a very prominent Pom. I object to being called a Pom. It makes me sound like a Granny Smith. Actually, I am very well known over here because I do a television advertisement for Heinz Soup. Only the other week I bumped into Mr. Heinz and I was perfectly frank with him. "Mr. Heinz," I said, "for your information, your soup actually tastes like a pot of peas." In case you didn't hear me correctly, I said peas. Peas. One thing's for sure, the Aussies have a very satirical sense of humour, and so I have had to adapt my act accordingly. For instance, my impressions of the royal family over here would go something like this. My husband and I are very proud to announce the royal birth. Princess Anne, how many babies do we have in the royal household now? I miss doing my favourite impressions over here because they don't have these programmes in Australia. EastEnders and Coronation Street. "Hello, darling, hello, babe, how are you, eh? Oh, I'm thinking of going out to Australia. Oh, it's getting too hot in England for me." "Oh, shut down on about Dot. You couldn't go over to Australia. Oh, what with your nerves? You'd have to take Dr. Leg with you." "Oh, I couldn't go anywhere to Australia without my little Willie." And then there's Coronation Street. Oh, I don't think that I could go to Australia. I mean, it's too far. I mean, I couldn't go solo on a jumbo. Oh, maybe. Can't I give anything to go over to that Bondi Beach and see those great hawky fellas? Hey, don't you reckon, Phyllis?
Flippin' it. Get me a seat on the plane. And that fix me up with a nice dishy fella. Someone a bit like a surfy person. Ooh, I like that.
Well, it's been great talking to you all in Calendarland. I promise to drop in next time I'm home. Meanwhile, I better get going because I've got a barbie to go to with Hogan. So until next time, take care, fair dinkum, no worries. Bye.
I'm sure there'll be no worries for the very talented Annette Law. I just think we'll be hearing a lot more of her in the next few years.